Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's pomegranate moment. I've been studying this tree now for weeks, trying to figure out what to do to it. It did a semi-hibernation this past winter, like a cool down period. It wasn't looking great when I put it in there last year, but when I took it out and put it under the lights in here in the studio, it really greened up. It's got a really, like, a nice dark green. My lighting might be a little bright, but this tree's looking really green compared to what it was. So I'm happy about that. It's what to do. I am going to give it a trim. I was trying to leave it with, like, enough leaves to re-energize it. Obviously I did, because it's budding out with flower buds. Like, what's it thinking? I don't know what it's thinking doing this. It usually doesn't do this till midsummer, end of summer. These things are crazy long. Like, hang on, where's my white piece of paper? This is one. Oh, this is all new. From here to here is all new. That's amazing. I did fertilize it with BioGold after it had been out of hibernation and some new leaves had started. So I think the fertilizing did it some good for sure. So I'm going to trim some of this back, because part of this tree's problem is the ratio in its branching. I don't even know how to describe it. Let me see if I can show you. And other people with more tree experience with the broom style might realize maybe this isn't a problem, but to me it just looks like a problem. Or a future problem. Right here, I have a piece of wire that's wrapped around two branches with the third one in the middle. Unfortunately, you can hardly see it because of all the leaves. Let me see if I can do this. So, as I'm trying to look at this tree, it's hard to figure out a front. I've never tried because I can't seem to get these tree branches to cooperate. So, let's see, right in here, I've got this branch and this branch, and then in between them, come on there, is this one right here. Now these three are very close together. There's no room for anybody to do anything. All this is really clumped up. I also have, see if I can show you, a side branch right here that is not as thick as this. This is thick, this is thicker. This one is a little thick here, but then it tapers off, which once I clean some of this out would be more obvious. If I were to use this as the front because the tree leans forward, it would allow me to develop branches back here for a back. But I still think this is too crowded with too many trunks of the same size, and someone has to go. Now, personally, I just can't decide. I think I want to leave this branch. Especially if this is my front. If anything else is my front, that's not a good front. I'm not really fond of this as a front. I'm going to end up bringing this branch. Let me see if I have it. I'm going to end up wiring this branch because I don't like this arc here, this arch shape. None of the other branches has anything like an arch shape, and it looks awkward to me compared to the branching out everywhere else. But if I raise it a little, the arc... Let's move that leaf. The arc is not as pronounced. So if I lift the branch up a little straighter and then bring these down to flatten them more into like a pad shape. This one. This one's good. And then this one over here, I can wire down like that. From the back side, maybe we can see it a little better. Oh, it's so hard to see in here. You've got this side branch, got this one leading up here, and this one here. Oh, I wish I could get you a view of it. Right there. So what I see when I'm looking at this is that this trunk and this branch here are very thick. Very similar. This is very heavy. It stays heavy and it goes pretty straight. Oh, my lefty. So it comes up here. And then up here is where it's a cluster of branches. Let's see. Oh, I can't get at it. My initial thought was to remove this branch and this branch and leave this one. It's a little smaller. It comes back up and might make a little better leader. Otherwise, my tree is decidedly leaning forward and is very thick and heavy all the way up to here and is only gonna... This is terrible. Okay, so I have decided I'm going to give this tree a haircut first and then come back and take a look at trying to decide what I can do about in here. So, let's get the cutters. First, I've got a little one in here that I want out because it's cluttering up the interior of where I need to see. I am going to take this branch off altogether. Because if I am keeping this at all, the branches are going to have to be on this side to bring it out away. I think I'll leave that one. Take off this one. Let's see what else is going on in here. There's a whippy one in here that's not doing anybody any good. Get that out. Take this off. Can't see with that in the way. Leave that. Trim this back just because it does not need to be this long. Take it to there for now. This one here is growing backwards. Not in a way that's going to help me at all. Just going to get it out of the way. Taking these flower buds off because I really don't want my tree wasting its time on flowers right now. This one can come back a little. This one is coming all the way out from there. Right back in. There. I don't want this tree to get too leggy and long. Some of these branches. When I'm trying to deal with what's in here. So. One way up here and it belongs way down here. Let's see. And if this would be my front and this is crossing too much. Back out of the way. One back out of the way. This one down here. Just opening it up a little more. This one is crazy. starting to see just can't show you. Say that I may not want this at all. Not sure if you can see how much all this slopes away. And I was trying to get something that would maybe come back up towards the center, and the only one that's really heading that way is this one right here. It's still got all this distance before it starts to come back this way. But that's a pretty steep curve. If I put this as the front, then that's not so obvious. But coming up with a way to, again, I'm just stumped which branch needs to go. Keeping them all seems crowded. And it also seems like it's just going to continually thicken this section. And I'm not getting the taper that I want. The only way I can see to get the taper is to either cut all this whole section off, which would be all of this. That. Or this one. It should look more like that. With this one gone. Still, this really ugly straight section. It's a real stumper. Whatever I do is going to be drastic, taking off these big chunky branches. I don't know how to get a broom with this kind of gap. If it had none of that, maybe if I replanted it and tilted it back some, it might seem more straight. I don't know, I'm just really at a loss with what to do up here. This one right here kind of comes back in a little. I just don't know. Ugh, it just makes me crazy. Let it go from there and get taller. Good grief, how tall will it have to be? It's already pretty tall. Let's see, another bud. Stop making buds. I just don't know. I have to think a little more on it. Okay, I got a couple ideas, and then I think I'm gonna end the video here and do a part 2. So what I'm doing is there's a few little spots that I want to clear up because I'm going to go with, this is my front. And I don't really want anything crossing into it. This. I had already done a chop here. I am going to do another. I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm doing it anyways. I want to try and slim this branch down just a smidge. Maybe I can save some of these branches if I can get this to look like a front or something. This one over here is also really thick. I am either going to take this branch all the way off, but for now, just as an experiment, because I'm so torn about what to leave and what to keep, I think I need the bigger ones. They're really bigger. They're sharper. So what I'm doing is coming into this spot right here. First of all, get rid of that. Trying not to stand in the way. I don't know if that'll survive that, but that's what's happening. So I gotta make that somehow like a little narrower and a little less bulky. Might be able to make it look a little more tapery for this branch here. It goes back to here. This is the one I just cut. You can see how I took a chunk out of here to make what was really like a cylindrical flat cut shape be a little more angled from here to where this new growth is. Maybe if I can get the new growth to swing this way, you know what, I'm actually taking this off too. Because the one under, this little one under, that's what's going to be growing in the direction I need it to go in if this is the front. This one over here. So I tried to open up this front a little more without actually removing the branches. I'm still not sure about that. I still feel something's too close. I don't know. And then there's 3 things coming out of here, so I'm going to pick one. This right here still bugs me, this whole section. I feel like it's really long. I don't know how I'll ever get it in proportion. If anybody has any ideas, that'd be great. Let's see if I back it up. Now maybe if I tilted it back into planting, I don't know. The portion here is really long. This chunk is really thick. It just looks very heavy to me. If I put this as the front, then you don't notice it. But from anywhere else, it's pretty obvious. very clunky. So this is the only direction it really kind of looks sort of okay. Well, stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to try and do a little wiring and hopefully make some final decisions on cutting these or deciding to just see how they heal, let them leaf out again. I almost feel like I should take this off and just regrow some of the primary branches. But if you have any comments or any ideas, feel free to give them to me. I know, Xavier, you had commented, I think, on removing this lowest branch. This one here. This one here. Which I may do. It's just not as crucial right now as trying to fix what in the world is happening up here. Actually, what is happening right here. And here, and here. And here. Ugh. Stay tuned for part 2. Stay tuned for part 2. That's all I can say. This is the most difficult tree I think I have. As far as trying to figure out what to do. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.